Who wants balanced, slightly underperforming premium tanks, which are not sold in loot boxes? Who wants to play those balanced, slightly underperforming premium tanks? And with that, I welcome you to my video on the CS-52C. And I can already take it away from the title. No, this tank is not worth it. This tank, quite actually, might be one of the worst premium tanks in the game. And, you know, before I've played this tank, I looked at the stats and was like, oof, that is kinda rough, you know, not looking quite hot. And then I was thinking, yeah, I will still use my new transitions to transition between gun and mobility and armor, etc, etc, etc. You know, try to make the video a little bit more pizzazz, to make it more unique, to make it more special. And then I played this tank and I was sitting there like, wow, that tank does not deserve anything. Because quite frankly, this tank is in every single point when it comes to how to balance a tank, just straight up wrongly made. The CS-52C is currently the second tier 8 Polish premium tank in the game, with the first one being the CS-52 Liz, aka Fox. And this one is probably the bobber, because the Fox is hunting bobber. And this poor bobber doesn't even have teeth to try and defend itself. It's dead. It has 150 DPM less, which on first glance is not that big of a deal. Because technically, if you look at the CS-52C, it is quite interesting. You know why? Well, it has a CS-53 hull with a turbo mode like the tier 10 tank with the turret of the tier 10. So you might think, holy, it has a tier 10 turret, that means it has 390 alpha, right? No. It has a smaller gun with just 250 alpha, which is not the biggest issue, because usually, let's say, guns with worse alpha usually have better DPM than tanks with higher alpha. Just so to kind of try and balance it out, that it's a little bit harder to use your DPM effectively compared to alpha. Especially in the current meta, it feels like a lot of high alpha guns tend to perform better. No. Again, it has worse DPM than the CS-52 Liz, for no apparent reason whatsoever. So, does it then have better gun handling? No. Even though it has a smaller gun, it has less alpha, it has worse gun handling. And the pen is the same, for no apparent reason whatsoever, which is also quite frankly weird. Yes, it has better premium pen, the new C version, but it's heat. So it's like a little, this is balanced, you know? Either you have better heat pen but worse velocity, or you have APCR with worse pen but better velocity. Usually you take the APCR because it simply tends to be more convenient for medium tanks. But with the C version you also have worse accuracy, worse aim time, worse, excuse me, I have to reiterate, much worse accuracy during turret traverse, slightly better accuracy during hull movement. But hey, at least you do not have the same top speed, right? Well, yes, in the turbo mode it's going 70 kph. In the normal mode it's going 50, which is the same speed as the CS-52 Liz. In reverse, in speedy mode, it is faster, yes, it goes 25 kph, but in normal mode it's just 17, which is 3 kph less than the Liz. And it has worse HP per ton ratio. And it has insanely poor terrain resistance, which makes it extra punishing for you to play not in the speedy mode. But if you play in the speedy mode, not only do you have to sit still for 2.5 seconds to engage speedy mode, you also have insanely, absolute, fantastically garbage gun handling. So then at least you only need 1.5 seconds to exit speed mode. But then you have much worse aim time because you have such an insanely huge circle. Like seriously, it's bigger than my freaking nose, and I know it's massive. So what does it have? Exactly nothing. And this is where I want to reiterate the point from the beginning. It is so frustrating to see that Wargaming, at least it looks like it's trying to introduce a new tank. And it is for gold, which is like, wow, yippee, it's for gold. It's not in a loot box. It's not hidden behind actual money you have to buy. You can use your gold you might have gotten from the other loot box you already bought, or it is from gold you have from Clan Wars or whatever. You have somehow still some gold left over, so you can buy it like that. Yippee, that is good. But then this tank is so incredible garbage. Nobody should play it. Nobody will buy it. And now we have to go back to the thinking, okay, Wargaming is a business. Wargaming wants to make money. So what are the reasons they make a tank like this? Because let's be honest, they're balancing people. They are not stupid. They know usually how to balance things, usually. So why do they implement a tank like this? So there are only really two ideas which are coming to my mind. Either they generally didn't know any better, and they were just like, okay, the community was complaining about too many loot box tanks, so let's give them a goodie with a tank which can be bought with gold. But then it's freaking garbage. So what does the company then see? Okay, we listen to the community. The tank is bad. They don't like it. They really dislike it. The sales plummet, and I shouldn't use my pinky finger, I should use my thumb, because that's key point. Sales are bad for this vehicle. So, what does it tell the company? Boxes make more money. Or, they just know it's garbage, and they're like, okay, again, it's a freebie. Take it or leave it. But, then why make it garbage? Why don't you make it acceptable to play? Look, the main problem is, everything on this tank is statistically worse than the previous premium tank, which is arguably not considered to be overpowered. It is considered to be good. Yes, it has a good all-round package. Some might argue it might be a little bit too good, but I've played it, and I have to say, look, there's a Barras, there's a KPC. These are miles better tanks in the medium department than the CS-52 list. The list is just a good all-round package. And why do you now make an worse version in every single way to try and sell a gimmick which basically is a detriment to your tank? It only works on maps where you have to be quick to get into an early position. Example would be the Asian, not Ash River, I forgot the name because I'm washed up, or Mines, for example. By the way, I'm still sick thanks to Tankfest. Video should maybe come soon, I don't know, I'm lazy, but I have a lot of footage and it was amazing. Except for the sickness. Thanks, Kaylee. Anyway, that's the point. You only are fast enough to get into the position once, and then you need 1.5 seconds to change, but you also have to wait like 4 additional seconds to actually have an acceptable circle. So let's try to make an experiment in our heads. We have mines. We consider to be fast, even though we are not that fast, as even a Sharpfoot 4 is basically 1 second behind us. However, that might actually be enough that he eats a shot and you don't. But anyway, let's think about mines. We go on a hill, we were the fastest. Two things can happen. Either you were fast enough that nobody was able to shoot at us, which I doubt because it has horrendously poor terrain resistances, giving us super, super bad acceleration, even though it has almost 30 HP per ton ratio. Or we are the fastest on the hill, but you're not able to shoot at the other person going the hill, for example, like a Burask, because our gun handling is too big, so we have to stay still for 1.5 seconds to change, and then an additional 3 seconds to get the aim circle small. So he goes around, already gives us 2 shots because he has much better gun handling, and then he plays Ring Around the Roses with us. Because not only do we have bad DPM, our acceleration in non-speedy mode is insanely poor, our top speed is insanely poor, our gun handling is still not really good, so he can just run around us in circles, reload, and then kill us. Because, in theory, he has enough burst in 2 shells or 2 magazines to kill us straight up. GG, well played, you did 400 damage, the game is over. But then you think, okay, well, what do? Snipe? Oh no, you can't, you have 0.39 accuracy. So this is also out of the corner. So the only real thing which more or less could sometimes more or less a little bit work is if you say, okay, screw it, we take a stabilize, we take a rammer, and we take optics. Don't have HP, we don't have a turbo, we just take this to try and use the somewhat acceptable camo values. The accuracy, the view range is not good, it's 380 meters, which is, in my opinion, not good. But we can use the slightly, or acceptable camo rating, which is actually better than the CS-52 list. Oh my god! Makes this tank a whole lot better, isn't it? I'm just kidding. Well, it is better, but I hope you understood my joke. But that's it. And once again, why should you buy this tank when it doesn't have a single redeeming feature? It's a smack in the face to the community, it's a smack in the face by the balancing team, it's a smack in the face to the super tester, because once again, they most likely had the ability to test this vehicle, they gave the feedback, and the feedback was thrown in the trash. And without clear communication, why this vehicle is so insanely poor, why it's not being properly balanced, is just frustrating, you know? It's just frustrating. I don't know what else to say. The only thing I can still show you is the travesty which are the stats on tanks.gg. Everybody knows the CS-53 is not good, the tier 8 tech tree tank. Many people dislike it. I personally was okay with it because it still had a little bit of alpha which you can use. But even the CS-53 looks better on paper and feels better in-game than the premium. Because it doesn't have to look at this stupid speedy mode, which guts its terrain resistance. It still has better DPM. It has, yes, worse gun handling on the move. Okay, that's fair. But it has a slightly better accuracy. It has more alpha with more DPM. It's just like, why? It's just, why? Like, ah. Oh. This tank breaks me, genuinely. This tank breaks me. And I don't want to go on for more and more with me hearing the cope and the mold and the sieve. That's it. My name is RagingRaptor. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know in the comment section below what you think about this tank. And I'll see you around. Cheers.